Hello everybody and welcome back to Simulated TC here. We're getting ready for another new season, the second season of Simulated Touring Cars here at the Circuit Barcelona Catalunya, and we hope you are all very excited. We are here for pre-season testing, but that's with a twist. So if you're thinking, pre-season testing, that's boring. It's not pre-season testing how you'd expect. To prepare ourselves for a brand new season, we are going to run through the brand new format for this season, which is pretty much the same as last season, with a couple of minor changes, but, it's always worth getting them practiced before we start scoring some points and putting them in the championship standings. So what we will be doing is, it'll be a traditional event, as we would have for the rest of this season, just no points are on offer, and the drivers, they can use this as an opportunity to test some things out. Of course, those that want to make a point may want to make a point. You want to learn, you want to do well, but it's a chance for these competitors to get a feel for things, and it's a chance for us to see how they look in their new cars, because not only do we have some new drivers joining the grid, we also have new manufacturers joining the field, and some older ones that did quite well last season have not managed to attract any competitors for this season. So whilst it's not impossible they don't come in later on in the season, at least at the start of the season, there's a couple of last season manufacturers, and big name manufacturers they are, that won't be on the grid to start this season. Well then, this season, slightly different format, as I mentioned. We will now be doing the races separately, so whilst it will still be 3 races per track and per event, rather than all 3 races being in one video, one group, where the drivers pick their tyres before the event, it will now be that each race will be separated onto its own. So, today, when you're watching this, whenever that may be, it will be all the drivers have seen their qualifying results and they have chosen their tyres for race 1 and only race 1. After race 1, they will then have the chance to see where they finished, get an understanding for that, see what their best options are for races 2 and 3, and then decide what their tyre choice is going to be for races 2 and 3. So this way it gives a little bit more of a strategic element, and slightly less about predicting your opponents. So whilst of course that's still going to be a big factor, it's slightly less important than it was last season, where it was a wild guess for all 3 races, where you had to focus on yourself, but also try and guess what your competitors were doing. This season, you just pick race 1, you still got to try and expect what the other's going to do in race 1, and get an idea of how you can gain an advantage that way. But for races 2 and 3, you'll at least know which tyres your opponents have used, so you can think to yourself, okay, well I'm behind these 4 cars, but all of them use their softs in race 1. Then in that case, you can go, okay, I can use my softs in race 2 and know that all 4 of the cars in front of me will all be going slower than I will. So it's these sorts of factors that will add a bit more of a strategic element to this season. It also means that the races will be, as I mentioned, broadcasted separately. So you're watching race 1 now. Race 2 will come out the Tuesday after race 1. So race 1 will still be on Thursdays at 6 PM UK time. Then on the Tuesday after will be race 2 at 6 PM UK time. And then the Thursday after that, it will be race 3 at again 6 PM UK time. And then it restarts the cycle again. So it's a consistent rolling of races. And in a shortened 30 race season, hopefully you'll enjoy it as much as I expect we will, and I certainly am looking forward to this greatly. So let's get the talking out of the way and done. Let's move on to the starting grid for pre-season race 1. So we now look at the starting grid, and at the very back of it we see Andre Jamil there, moving from Alfa Romeo to Toyota. He'll be starting on the medium tyres. Ahead of him is rookie Dimitri Sotorakis in the Mercedes. He'll be on the soft compound tyres, the lowest starting soft driver in the field. Next up, Alberto Asante on the hard compound tyres. Then it is Thomas Pierpont on the medium compound tyres. Ahead of him we have Leo Bonnet going with the soft compound tyres for race 1. Ahead of him then it is Ian Henwood on the medium compound tyres. Medium is a popular choice for race 1 it seems. Seb Mills, brother of Jonathan Mills, the most winningest driver last season, he'll be starting on the medium tyres here in race 1. Liam Jones, a driver with a lot of success himself last season, will start on the mediums. Then it is Ben Driscoll in his brand new Genesis on the soft compound tyres. Ahead of him, moving from Mercedes to Tesla, Preston Brennan. He will be starting on the medium compound tyres. Then it is Jonathan Mills, as mentioned, the winningest driver last season. He'll be on the hard compound tyres for race 1. Then we see Jordan Fingal, he'll be on the medium compound tyres, as will the driver ahead of him, Adrian Tishy. And ahead of him, it is then a rookie, Aston Lewis. He'll be on the soft compound tyres in his DS. Ahead of him, then it is Tyler Davison, another driver moving teams at the end of last season. He moved from Toyota to Peugeot. He'll be on the mediums. Ahead of him, it is the reigning champion, Adam Richardson, but expect a slow start in race 1 here. He's on the hard compound tyres. Ahead of him, then we see Matthew Lilly, another rookie. He's in the Tesla and on hard compound tyres. Second on the grid is the highest starting driver on soft tyres. It is Adam Liu. And on the pole, we have the rookie Jackson Turner in his Honda, joining Jono at that team. He will start race 1 on pole position, but on the medium tyres. The cars are ready to go then, and we are racing for the first time here this season, and it's a brilliant start from Matthew Lilly from the second row of the grid there. He jumps straight into the lead there. The Tesla, its electric torque proving to be, well, unbeatable off the start, but look at this as they charge down towards turn 1. Turner and Liu both looking at Liu, but a big send down the inside there. Turner gets barged out of the way. Liu also dropping back after that flying start before he even got to turn 3. He's lost multiple positions there, and now we head through turn 3, and he is still fighting hard with Turner. He's keeping his nose in this fight here. Liu on the softs, Turner on the mediums, Lilly on the hards, and we see them here side by side heading towards turn 4 now, as the Tesla, it's a toolless stance. They're trying to stay around the outside here. 2 British drivers going side by side behind them. The Canadian of the Canadian, it's Adrian Tishy there in his Toyota. Driver staying at his manufacturer this season, as does the current race leader Adam Liu, staying with Renault. Side by side here between the 2 rookies as they come through the next corner here. They're still side by side. It's full drive versus front wheel drive here. 2 different, very different cars. One is electric, one is internal combustion engine, as you'd traditionally expect. And we see them still side by side as they come back up the hill and towards turn 9. Side by side racing still here between these 2. Mediums for Turner is giving a chance here to stay in this fight against the full drive on those corner exits. But look at the momentum carried around the outside, but he may have got a little bit wide there. And that is going to let Turner get just ahead there. He's cleared him into that second position. And now that is going to put Lilly under attack from Tishy and Davison as they break into the hairpin. There a little bit of contact further back in the pack here. Side-by-side racing, Lilly now fighting his way with Adrian Tishy. Adrian Tishy, one of our returning drivers from last season, as I mentioned, staying with Toyota, happy after his first season. A slight change of his livery though. He has moved over from the white Toyota livery to the black Toyota livery. Similar to that of his teammate Albert Assante's, but slightly different. The red and white is reversed on their 2 liveries to allow us to have a chance at identifying each car individually, although I can't promise that there won't be some mistakes across the season, I have to admit. Behind Adrian Tishy there we see Jordan Fingal. He drove for BMW last season. He's moved over to Tesla. BMW had a 2-car operation last season. This season, only the one with rookie Elmarie Sarlo, who sadly did not make the field for preseason testing. That's another thing worth mentioning here, whilst watching the race here, is that we have a larger field side this season. So whilst only 19 cars will race in each event, we will see 26 entries trying to qualify in to each event. So it'll be qualifying even more important this season, as 7 drivers each week will at least miss out. As you now see them side by side through turns 1 and 2. Heading up into turn 3 now, Tyler Davison. As mentioned, he was at Toyota last season. Had himself quite a lot of success. Of course, Toyota won the Manufacturer Championship last season, but they did not win the Drivers' Championship. So perhaps Tyler believing that there is a better chance of success with a new manufacturer in the form of Peugeot. The front-wheel drive cars towards the end of last season proved to be the class of the field, so perhaps going to a front-wheel drive Peugeot is part of that thinking in moving teams there from the full drive of the Toyota here, as we still see them side by side here, as he has got the rookie of Aston Lewis on his inside behind them both. Ben Driscoll, the Jordan's teammate last season at BMW, he's another driver who has left the BMW team, and he has moved over to Genesis, a manufacturer which was not able to find any competitors last season. This season has managed to find 2, so a big improvement for that manufacturer here. And Ben Driscoll in this field doing a solid job so far, the only Genesis to qualify for this pre-season event. And as he goes around the outside, gets that move done on Davison. Ahead of them we see that is Aston Lewis side by side with Leo Bonnet. Bonnet there in the Alfa Romeo, but look at the top speed of the DS as they head into the braking zone there. The DS strong on top speed, as you will notice quite a lot last season we saw it. The front-wheel drive cars tend to have better top speed than the four-wheel and rear-wheel drive cars, as they have to make up their lap time somewhere, because you see they're a bit of a slide through there. The smaller, lighter cars you'd think would be a strength in the corner, but the front-wheel drive, they just struggle to get the power out of the corners there. Although on those soft tyres, look at the speed Aston Lewis is carrying there. As we head towards the final couple of corners, he goes around the outside of Jordan Vingle in the Tesla. Next up will be the rookie Matthew Lilley in front of him there as they head towards the final corner. He's going to try and do it all in the final couple of corners here, and Aston Lewis is looking like he's going to pull this one off. Stunning move there on Matthew Lilley. Matthew Lilley on those hard compound tyres, perhaps saving his best for later on in pre-season here. As now we see Driscoll is looking set to race his former teammate here. These two teammates last season racing for rival manufacturers this season. Ben Driscoll on those soft compound tyres makes the move up past his former teammate, and into turn one he goes in 7th position there. As you now see, that's Leo Bonnet going down the inside of Matthew Lilley on those hards, continuing to drop back here. Leo doing a strong job there in the Alfa Romeo team, which finished 2nd in the Manufacturers' Championship last season. A manufacturer that really is expected to contend for this season's championship. But, of course, the Manufacturers' Championship last season, it was very much a two-horse race between the two four-car manufacturers of Alfa Romeo and Toyota. This season, the limit of cars per manufacturer has come down to 3, which now means we have 5 manufacturers, all with the maximum 3 cars. So expect a much more tight championship battle in the Manufacturers' Championship. Whilst, of course, we saw last season the Drivers' Championship was wide open all season long, I expect it probably will be the same again this season, although with the new qualifying format allowing for slightly, much fairer qualifying results, it will mean that strategy will mean that little bit more and less about sort of the almost reverse grids we had last season here. As we now see Bonnet on the back of Tishy as they come up the hill here, got around the outside, good momentum there as Lewis in that 2nd place now will try and reel in Lee, who has got a large margin out in front, it has to be said. As Bonnet gets the move done there, Driscoll behind him. Next up, he'll be looking at trying to pass Tishy there. As you see the two Teslas quite close behind. Jordan Fingal has started this race on the mediums compared to his teammate Lilley on the hards as they head in to the HEP. Now, all 3 Teslas did qualify for pre-season testing here for this event. So a strong start for a new manufacturer here, as we see the pole sitter Jackson Turner currently running in that 3rd position, but he has got some pressure behind him now from Bonnet, Tishy and Driscoll here. Turner on the medium tyres after starting from pole position. A bold call to go the mediums. Carlo last season, I remember, in Le Mans went with mediums for race 1, then went softs race 2, and it allowed him to have a arguably more successful event, as it allowed him to sort of back up 2 consecutive strong events, strong races, sorry, as the qualifying position gave him that strength in race 1 that the mediums didn't hurt him too much. So perhaps we're seeing some similar testing of that sort of stuff in pre-season testing here. As you see, Driscoll is on the move, trying to get up and past the Canadian there, although Adrian does put up a strong defence, goes off the racing line, covering that inside line, is going to force Driscoll to go around the outside there in the Genesis. The Toyota, though, strong on the brakes, and is not going to give up that spot easily. Driscoll has to slot in behind by the looks of things, at least for now. Doesn't want to lose too much time, but this train is allowing him to stay in this group at the moment here. As you can see, the Alfa Romeo is looking really tight around turn 3 here. This is the sort of corner where the tyre is going to make a huge difference here. And you can see Turner on those mediums, just not with the cornering speed that Bonnet has behind him. Driscoll, you see there, has used that to his advantage. He's actually been able to pass Tishy going through turn 3 there, using those grippier tyres to his advantage as they now head through turn number 4. Turner is ahead of Bonnet here, and we see them racing hard still here. Driscoll right up behind them, trying to make something happen, as look at the send there from Bonnet down the inside. Incredible stuff there from Leo Bonnet, and he gets up in to 3rd position there. That's a really impressive move there on those soft tyres. He knew he had the grip to pull it off, he just had to have the bravery, and that's exactly what he has displayed there. Bonnet up into that 3rd position. Driscoll in 5th place, now looking at getting past Turner himself now. Has 5 drivers in this race on soft tyres. Currently 4 of them are in the top 5. Dimitri Sotirakis, he started down in 18th place, so perhaps not a huge surprise that he's struggling to make his way through the field there, as he slowly climbs his way up the order. You may just see him in the background there. I believe he's in 9th position at the moment here. As there we see a little bit of a look for a move from Turner, fighting back against Driscoll. Not quite able to do it though. Doesn't have the grip or the braking capacity to pull that one off there. So now the top 4 are all all on soft compound tyres here as they head through the final sector of the lap. It's Liu out front ahead of Aston Lewis. Adam Liu there, strong out front so far. There it is. Similar livery to last season, slightly adjusted sponsorship there with new Project 47 branding for Adam Liu's new race team, which you'll see not just on the side of his STC car, but also on the side of his NASCAR GT car this season. If you do follow that as well, you'll get to see that livery, or a version of that livery there with the Project 47 branding on board over in that series as well this season in Season 11 of Next Generation Motorsport. Here we see Dimitri is on the back of Tyler as they head down the main straight here. The Mercedes last season had some high moments and some low moments when it came to its top speed. Early in the season it seemed to be a struggling point, but as the season went on, balanced performance gave them that little bit of a boost when it came to top speed there. You can see though, compared to the Peugeot down into turn 1, did not have what it needed to get alongside, but you can see the cornering speed on those soft compound tyres proving impressive in the Mercedes. But the Mercedes looking already like it may be a bit like the Toyota last season, more of a cornering car than a top-end speed car, like we saw, of course, the Volkswagen here, as we see Adam Richardson, the reigning champion here in his brand new Renault. It's not a big change for him going from Volkswagen to Renault, very similar cars, but now teaming up with two of his very good friends. Adam Liu up at the front at the moment, also in the Renault, and was in it last season, and sadly one of the drivers who failed to qualify for this event, Charlie Goodrick, in a third of the Renaults. He will be joining them as a free car team for Renault, a manufacturer looking like it could well do quite well this season, and you'd expect, considering the success that their drivers had last season with Adam Liu and Adam Richardson, that they should be in that fight for the Manufacturers' Championship at the very front of the field there. As we now see Jonathan Mills, of course the driver with the most wins last season, was in the title fight late on in the season, didn't quite go his way in the end, but he was happy with the Honda. He stuck it out with that manufacturer, and he's been able to attract a couple of friends to join him too there, with Jackson Turner joining the series and Thomas Pierpont joining as well, both joining Honda to be another Manufacturers' Championship contender this season here. As we see behind Jonathan Mills, Seb Mills. Now, that's not just a coincidence that they both share the last name of each other. They are, in fact, brothers, and they have a fair share of history in NASCAR GT, the other series we run, and perhaps we could see something similar here with them being rival manufacturers for this season. As Jonathan Mills having a good battle here with Matthew Lilly. Preston Brennan just behind this group of cars in his Tesla. He drove them, of course, from Mercedes last season, and he has decided to make the step to join Tesla alongside Jordan Fingal. As we now see side-by-side racing, that's Dimitri going all the way around the outside there. Nice stuff at the final couple of corners. But as we look towards the front of the field, it is closed up all of a sudden. Adam Liu in that Renault was comfortably out front not too long ago here, but look, you can see the pressure is being piled onto him here. Aston Lewis is on his tail as they head through turns 1 and 2 here. The top four, all four different manufacturers here, all on soft tyres and all pretty much nose to tail. This is a good sign for the season we have coming up ahead of us already here, as we see Aston Lewis trying to carry that momentum through turn 3 to give himself a chance to make something happen as they head towards turn 4 here. Renault versus DS versus Alfa Romeo versus Genesis, and look at that, Aston Lewis is looking for it, he's going for it down the inside there. That's a bold move from Aston Lewis, but he gets it done by the looks of things. Adam Liu's going to have the chance to send it back down the inside of the next corner here, but will he take it as they head down into the braking zone? He's going to surely have to look for it, but he's not quite able to go for it. In fact, it's Bonnet that's the one really looking to the inside there, as Driscoll goes a little bit wide in the Genesis, as it's now a DS that leads the field. DS, a new manufacturer this season, and they are leading the way in Preseason Race 1 here. There are two DSs on the grid this season, although one of them did fail to qualify for the Preseason event here, Race 1. So now we can see as he makes his way up through the very high speed part of the racetrack, Aston Lewis leads the way here ahead of the Renault of Adam Liu. Then it's Leo Bonnet and Ben Driscoll in 4th place at the moment. Behind them we see this battle of cars again here, as Turner just ahead of Tichy and Sotirakis. Sotirakis in the Mercedes here, the Greek driver, a rookie to the championship, is the sole Mercedes on the grid this season. But Mercedes, they had their fair share of success last season, is looking at making a move already on the back of Adrian Tichy here, as the next lap already will be the final one. It's crazy how quickly these races fly by here in Simulated TC. Sotirakis started 18th on the soft tyres, has made strong progress so far, up 11 places, but really he'll be aiming for that 5th place here. There may only be a lap left, but on soft tyres, you do not ever want to find yourself behind anyone that is not on the soft tyres. The soft tyres are such a big advantage that it is often quite disappointing if you find yourself in a situation where you've been beaten by those on medium or hard compound tyres here, as they head towards the final corner here for the penultimate time today. Soterakis on the back of Tishy, 2 four-wheel drive cars behind the front-wheel drive Honda just ahead of them, and we've got the Tesla behind Jordan Fingal and the Peugeot of Tyler Davison in 9th position there. As we head down the main straight again, the Toyota last season was one of the cars that was slightly weaker in a straight line. Balance performance this season is expected to have made them slightly stronger, but the Mercedes has a look not quite able to do it there. Will he go for a send down into the first corner? No. Soterakis not able to make it happen into turn 1 there, so perhaps an early weakness of the Mercedes being put on display here, or perhaps that is just that Toyota have made those improvements with the balance performance now. They now have the top speed to compete here. The Honda ahead of them, front-wheel drive car, is traditionally better on top speed, as we would expect, as they lose out their time on traction zones. As we head now towards a few of those, this could be the chance for Soterakis here, as Tishy Ashley is going to have a look here. Looking in the mirrors, trying to fill them up of Turner. Going to try and get alongside, but it's not going to be enough there. And as a result, that is going to allow Soterakis to go all the way around the outside there. And he gets it done on Tishy. And now will he go for the move down the inside, or will Turner cover it off? Turner defends that inside line nicely, and Soterakis is forced to sit behind for now. But that Mercedes suddenly showing off its strengths as it just drove around the outside of Tishy through turn number 4 there. So now head through 5 and into 6, 7 and 8. We see here Soterakis all over the back of Turner here. The pole sitter trying to cling on to a top 5 finish here. Only using mediums in this race. The same is the case for Adrian Tishy just behind them, and Jordan Fingal as well just behind them. So we see these drivers here trying to get the best they can from their result, but if you look back towards the front here, Aston Lewis, whilst he may have taken the lead, he's not exactly driven away with it out front here, as Aston Lewis is going to head towards the final couple of corners now, and the rookie is putting on a show for us, as DS Automobiles in their debut here. It's only pre-season testing, there's no points on offer, but it's certainly a statement of intent here, because as they come round the final corner, race 1 here of pre-season testing is going to go the way of DS Automobiles and Aston Lewis. They win race 1 there, ahead of Adam Liu and Leo Bonnet there. Ben Driscoll in 4th place, and behind them it is Dimitri Soterakis coming through the final corner. He did get that move done on Turner just in the nick of time as he comes around the final corner now for the final time. It is going to be a top 5 lockout for those on soft compound tyres, and 8 different manufacturers in the top 8. In fact, that might in fact be 9, and I think it is there. What a pre-season testing race 1. That was very exciting. So now let's have a look at the results for race 1 officially. Aston Lewis is pre-season testing race 1 winner there, ahead of Adam Lee, as it is a front-wheel drive 1-2 here. As we saw, front-wheel drive did have a strong end to last season. Leo Bonnet in 3rd place there, ahead of Ben Driscoll in the Genesis. Then it is Dimitri Soterakis out of Jackson Turner, the pole sitter, Adrian Tishy, and then Jordan Fingal. Tyler Davison in 9th place there, makes it 9 different manufacturers in the top 9. The first manufacturer to have a repeat car is the Renault Megane of Adam Richardson, the reigning champion, finishing 10th there. He was on the hard compound tyres, so that is an impressive drive from him. 11th, Sebastian Mills, and it's Matthew Lilly Jonathan Mills, and then Andre Jamil behind him. Preston Brennan in 15th place would be the final points paying position if points were on offer. Thomas Pierpont in 16th place, then 17th is Ian Hemwood, 18th Albert Asante, and bringing at the back of the field is Liam Jones for race 1. So that's it for pre-season testing race number 1. I do hope you all enjoyed that one. It's a slightly strange way of doing things for pre-season testing this season. It's slightly a weird sort of combination of sort of telling you some information about the new teams and manufacturers and drivers and all of that, but also keeping you up to date with the actual racing that we're getting to watch here. This is great fun to see, and I think the best way of doing it is by testing these cars, by sending them racing. I think is the perfect way to do it, and also to introduce you to some of the new faces. So I do hope you all enjoyed race 1 here. Next up, race number 2, and with a starting grid set by the results of race 1, the top 5, all of them, will not have softs available to them. I wonder what could possibly happen in race 3. Stay tuned to find out. We'll see you on Tuesday.